Hello, good morning again. No, I wanted to do this video a little while, and I kept delaying it all the time, right? But I'm going to speak now. No, a couple of years ago, we in Barbados would have been part of the biggest psychological experiment that's ever been being done in the world. All right, and it was all about control. Now, people are going to still stand up and say that the COVID pandemic was something that was actual and real. But when we look at it and we look at the history of diseases and the history of pandemics, all right, we have never seen a disease that is supposedly so deadly where you can have it and still don't know you have it. Where you can have it or you can be a carrier of it, but when you go in a restaurant, you could take off your mask and still do the normal things you do. You know what I mean? They said that way. I'm not a medical practitioner. But I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm not even a baker. But I still know bread tastes good. So I know common sense works for me. Anyway, the point of the matter is, I want to get to this. That when we see things being done, everything is done for a reason. And these people practice something called perspicacity. They use foresight. They plan things that will culminate and bear fruition years ahead. And they plan it now. Sometimes when we see things in Hollywood and we see them and we say they're fictional, sometimes we see these things being done in reality after we watched them years ago, because it's the figment of somebody's imagination. You understand? And that is what we are going through. We are going through a period of time right now in Barbados where people are being left homeless. I'm seeing mass evictions and people trying to evict people. I'm seeing mass land fraud. I'm seeing a lot of crime. I'm seeing a lot of unemployment. I'm seeing things at a rate that I've never seen it before. I might not have been cognizant of it as a younger person growing up, because those may not have been the things I've been interested in. But what I do is I go back and I speak to elderly people and I ask questions and I'm seeing things. Yes, the population is more. Yes, but it does not take a rocket scientist to run a government. You know, we have this belief that it takes somebody with a degree to run a government. That's not necessarily so. All it needs is somebody with a modicum of education and a lot of common sense. Because anybody who can run a household should be able to run a government. It's just on a larger scale. I'll give you an example. You have a household, you have the mom and dad, you have grandparents also living there, you have children of working age, children of a younger age going to school, and a baby. You know that you need to put things in place in case the elderly get sick or the young children get sick. So you put the little money aside. You know that mom and dad are working, one or two of the other children are working. So each person foots a certain bill. You understand? You know you need to put things in place that for food, for utilities, etc. It's the same governmentally. You understand? The only thing is, what we are practicing now in Barbados is we are practicing something called beggarism. We become a nation of mendicants, where we're dependent on reaching out and finding ways to beg. We're using climate change and the fact that hurricanes will affect us to beg. We're using the fact that we are developing nations to beg. We're using every opportunity we can to beg and borrow. Instead of putting things in place, let you renew your household and put things in place. Environmentally, you can keep around your house clean. Right? You do the same thing here. But what we need to do is to expand. Instead of, and I want to take a look at what has happened in Burkina Faso. Because what he has been doing is something that these leaders need to take a leaf out of his book. You start doing some manufacturing. You understand? Barbados has a lot of manufacturing where we can do furniture. We used to have a company called Intel years ago that would do transistors and different electronic equipment. You understand? We have many things. We have Sierra cotton where we can do that here in Barbados. You know, we have garment factories. We can do like toiletries. We have lots of toiletries and aloes and stuff. Do toiletries, do soaps, do shampoos, do things like that. We have animal husbandry we can get into. There's agriculture we can get into. There's technology we can get into. There are things that we need as to have a domestic product that we can say, well, listen, people will want to buy these things. We make income, we create jobs, and we take care of our household, which is Barbados. We put things in place for the elderly, we put things in place for the young. We create jobs. Let me say we create jobs. Sometimes we have people who are on the road idle. Let's do something like a draft program where we have guys who are not doing anything. Let us spend some time with the Barbados Defense Force. Put things in place where it doesn't have to be military or paramilitary, but you put certain organizations in place that people who are not working can then continue and get a stipend to get a trade and get certain things done. Do not make things expensive. I've just seen something there where they've raised the minimum wage. They raised the minimum wage by $2. Not even $3.50 but fair, by $2, right? And this is for people who maybe are working by the hour. What about those who are receiving a flat salary? What are you doing for them? How can this compare to the cost of living? Because Barbados has the highest cost of living in the Caribbean. How are people going to survive? You understand? People need to think, and they need to think clearly of what is happening around them. I want people to question everything. Question everything. Even when I say something, question it. I want to hear your opinions. Question what I say. You understand? Because obviously I'm human. And to be human, you're imperfect. Alright? Okay? And even though I might think before I say certain things, there are times where I might say something in the haste of the moment. And I might not be correct. So question me, attack me. You understand me? But do the same thing with your politicians. And I keep stressing on this because I would love people to pick politicians from within their own constituencies. Pick the people in your constituencies who have been there, who have been helping the community activity. That's how they did with Hamila and Depine. Perfect example, grassroots politician. You understand? Pick somebody from around your community, somebody who's experienced what you're experiencing too, and somebody who genuinely cares about what happens because it will affect them too. You understand? And work with them. There's nothing wrong with having some independence. Working, they don't have to be from the same party. But what we can use is use the experience we've seen, what is being done overseas in Europe and stuff. When they get in, let them get together and form a coalition. Then too, they could become a government. You understand? We just need people. Now, if you don't understand something, you get an advisor. You don't pay exorbitant sums for an advisor, but get somebody who is versed in that field if you're not aware of certain things. You know? That's all that's necessary. You, me, any one of you could play a part in government. And government belongs to us, you know. When you hear about, I hate to hear people talk about government buildings. They're public buildings, they're paid by the taxpayers. People, please, have a say in what's happening. This St. James North by election, let's see what transpires there. I am not fussy about either of the candidates. You understand? I wish the people would pick somebody from themselves and pick somebody that they believe could assist them. But so said, so done. Bajans are something stuck in their ways politically, but they allow all outside influence. They want to be like everybody else on the outside. You know, they're not proud of being themselves. They're not proud of themselves. We need more pride in ourselves. Anyway, I've had my say rambled all over the world. I just wanted to get certain things off my chest. Alright? Give me a call at 845-2557 for those who have problems, because I've been getting lots of calls and I've been going by people's homes and visiting, going into communities and visiting, going around Barbados and visiting. Sometimes it's hard to really respond to everyone. Don't get angry with me. I can't respond to everyone. Remember, it's only my one. I'm not an organization. But the priorities, I will prioritize. All right? Anyway, everyone, have a wonderful day. Keep your spirits up. Keep your tempers down. And remember, please, do something good for somebody today. This is Winston Clark. Another edition of Come Out Things, and I'm out.